Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the podcast, Not Quite Strangers. My name is Valerie Hope, and I am your host. I'm also a leadership coach and a professional speaker. But one of my passion projects is this podcast, primarily because it inspires people to be more curious when you bring two strangers together, or someone that's not quite strangers, in the case of my guest today. Also, it not only does that, it brings out curiosity, but also helps us shift our perspectives on people and values and philosophies. And hopefully, more than anything, I strive to establish a connection, not only between the three of us here on the podcast, but those of you who are watching and listening have an opportunity to also connect with us and hopefully inspires you to connect with people in your own community. So let's talk about our guests today. And if you're not already subscribed, be sure to subscribe so that you don't miss this episode or any others when it's posted. But I want to start by introducing Bway Pa. Bway, you and I've known each other. Were you in 7th or 8th grade when we met?
I think 7th grade.
7th grade. Oh my gosh. And so one of the memories that I have of us, Bway Pa, is because you were in Eagle Scholars or are in Eagle Scholars College Readiness Program. And we can talk about what that is for people who don't know. But I remember you were going to a dance audition in another high school. This was, I think, the first time that you'd gone to this particular dance audition. And I was one of the mentors who volunteered to take you. And I was just so impressed. I'd never seen you dance. I knew that you'd like to dance, but I was like, oh my gosh, she can really dance. This is awesome. And you ended up you got a spot at the school to actually participate. So I just remember feeling so proud and excited for you. And also it was nice to feel trusted that I was able to support you during that, that particular event, because I know how important, how passionate you were about it. So thank you so much for being on the podcast today.
Thank you for having me.
Yes. So we'll talk more about your dance in a moment. But first, I also want to introduce my second guest, Dar. Hello. And Dar, you and I remember so also Eagle Scholar. You've been a part of Eagle Scholars program. And I think we met when you were in the 9th grade.
It was actually the summer of 6th grade, I think.
What?
Yeah.
Summer of 6th grade. Oh my gosh. And both of you are seniors this year, or rising seniors. Okay. So summer of 6th grade. I don't believe that. I can't. But I do remember. Go ahead.
We met when you were doing the Diverse Lounge for Eagle Scholar. I think it was Diverse Lounge.
No, I don't think I was doing Diverse Lounge. That wasn't me. But you did.
You were speaking for sure.
Probably. But I do remember a conversation we had that because you were about to transfer to another high school or something. There was a point in time that you were transferring to a high school or a different school. And there were a couple of times that because I was doing Raise Your Voice.
Yeah, it was that one.
Yes, I was doing the public speaking class. And there were a couple of times when you and I talked about preparing for speeches. And there were a couple of activities. I can't remember the assignments that you were doing, but we spent quite a bit of time thinking about how to prepare, what you should write about. And at the time, I remember you being very introverted, kind of shy. And although you're still very reserved, I can see just how much you've grown up, right? And how much you've expanded and how much more confident you are in expressing yourself. And if I'm not mistaken, you like to write, right?
Yeah.
You're writing. Anyway, so thank you also for saying yes to being on the podcast.
Thank you for having me.
Sure. I like to ask my guests, why did you say yes to being on a podcast? Granted, you and the three of us, we have known each other for some time, and I'm sure that there's some trust there, I hope. But what had you say yes to being on a podcast?
For me, I accept it because I think this is a step towards my comfort zone, because I've only done one podcast, which is the Nest podcast with Eagle Scholar. Mm-hmm. And this is like another great opportunity to explore and see what podcast is all about.
Ooh, okay. Stepping out of the comfort zone. Nice. And Bway, what about for you?
I said yes because you asked me, and also because I always wanted to be in a podcast.
Okay,
Yeah.
there you go. Wish granted. Your wish is my command. Okay, so somebody I'm sure is listening to this and saying, "What, Eagle Scholars? What is that?" And I could say something, but you guys are in this program. So would one of you or both of you like to say some things about Eagle Scholars for people who've never heard of it before?
I could go first.
Sure.
Eagle Scholar is a college readiness program for sixth or like rising seventh grade to like 12th grade, and they s- they s- they still do help us even in college. So it's literally just to prepare us for college, know what all college is about. They help us with scholarship, and they take us to a lot of like trips to colleges. So yeah.
Oh, cool. All right, Bway, Paul, what would you add to that?
Adding on, Eagle Scholars helps you, like, takes you out to get to know more about yourself and what you're interested in, so that when you're stuck in your major, you can like go out and look at what you like to do and what you want to do in the future.
Yes, that is so good. I actually was involved in the program. I guess 2018 is when I started getting involved, and it was a lot about providing my skills as a coach and as a professional speaker, and doing it for 7th and 8th graders first. We called it Raise Your Voice, and that was a lot of fun. It took a lot of energy. So once a week, the Eagle Scholars participants got together, and you all were divided in different courses throughout that period of time. And I think it was every month or every quarter you changed to a different class. Is that how it worked? I think every month. So what was your favorite thing so far? No, you've been in Eagle Scholars now since 7th grade to now. You're going to be seniors in high school. What's been the highlight of your participation in that program?
Oh, I go first. For me, I would say it's just the variety of college trip that we get to go to, because I don't know much college that exists out there, so I don't really know which college I want to go to. So getting to go to colleges trip is really good. We also get to go on this overnight college trip, which is really nice.
What? Overnight? Where?
We went to the University of Oklahoma.
Oh, wow.
Really nice. It was a great opportunity.
You get the feel of being on campus.
Yes.
No, nice. All right. That's your highlight, was going to college trips, specifically that overnight. And Boy Pa, what about for you?
Mm, Probably the time where we went to the museum and they were talking about being a, what is it called? Not a psychologist. No. Astrology? No.
For the museum?
Yeah, it was something about fossils,
Oh,
like
really?
going out
Yeah,
and like
like not a geologist or a
uh,
I
I
I'm
think
at a
it's gonna be
loss.
Chinese.
Archaeologist?
Yeah, yeah,
Archaeologist?
yeah.
Okay.
And I was really interested.
In
Yeah.
archaeology? Really? Okay. So that was the
I
highlight.
wanted yeah.
What were you wanted to what?
I wanted to like I knew that I wanted to be out there and like explore the world instead of being in an office, you know?
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
I totally get that. That's important. This is important stuff to know. You know what? Things that you all know now going into your senior year of high school compared to some of the things that people don't even know as adults. And I work with adults, right? I work with people who've already been in the workforce for some time. Sometimes they didn't even know before they got into the job or to the career or even to the degree that they got into. So you all are learning so much about yourselves. You're learning so much about what's available, what you like, what you don't like, what you want to see. And I think that's the key, because you don't waste so much time, and B, you can really find something that aligns with you, that you're passionate about, right? That brings you life. So very cool. Now, you all didn't start your time here in Eagle Scholars, right? You obviously have an origin story. You come from different countries. The fact that you have come here with your family, there are some things that you've had to learn. English is not is one of the many languages you speak. So tell us a little bit about your background, when you came to Dallas, Texas, and yeah, just tell us about your background. Bway, why don't you start? And should I call you Bway or Bway Pa? What do you prefer? I always call
Bway.
you Bway Pa, but
Bway Pa?
you prefer that?
Yeah, Bway Pa.
Okay, perfect. Bway Pa, tell us. You start.
Okay, so I was born in Thailand and I came to the United States when I was 5 at 2010. And then I stayed around this area for like my whole life. Yeah.
Mm,
So, and growing up, it was really hard learning English since I started off learning Korean first. So then when I was in middle school, kindergarten, I got in trouble a lot because I was like talking a lot, learning about the language. Yeah.
Even in middle and kindergarten, you're very active.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Have you been back to Thailand?
No, I haven't been back since.
You haven't been back since. Okay, got it. Cool. And Dar, what about you? Tell us your background.
So I was born in Myanmar and I came to United States in 2012, I believe. And I lived in the Dallas area, but I moved to Garland. And growing up, not knowing English was really hard. Everything was like new. But I think knowing that our parents sacrificed a lot for us to come to the United States, I think that kind of motivated me to learn English really fast and just try to fit in in school.
Yeah. Oh, I totally get that. Yeah, fitting in is so important at any age, really, but especially if you've immigrated here from another country. And I'm also an immigrant. I came to the US when I was 9. And so I know that it's sometimes really challenging, really challenging. Obviously you both were so young when you came here, but when you think about your culture and you think about your family and the home culture versus the US or American culture that you've been a part of, what are some of the things that you found most exciting, most energizing, most positive?
Um, Probably the way we sit and eat, because like growing up and as a refugee, like we didn't eat like professionally and stuff. And then when I came to a scholar and learned more about like how to properly like, eat grammarly.
Like etiquette?
Yeah, etiquette.
Mm.
It was really fun.
That was your most
I,
exciting piece?
Mhm.
Nice. So tell us something about the etiquette that you liked or something that you found really fascinating.
Mm,
Anything come to mind?
I don't know.
I just went to
I
the
don't know.
etiquette dinner last week, so I'm like, it's fresh in my mind. But yeah, we host
Yeah, I saw.
the Yale Scholars host an etiquette dinner once a year, I believe, right? At least during the pandemic, we took a bit of a break, but
Yeah.
it's generally in a restaurant, and then there's a speaker that comes in and talks about which fork you should start with and how you should lay your fork on top and your fork and your knife on the plate when you're done, where you should put your glass, your bread plate, all those things. And in preparation for you all to go into job interview situations or networking situations and feel comfortable and confident. So is there anything that's very different, Bway Pa, for you in the etiquette that you were taught versus how you would eat at home, for example?
At home, I would just eat alone. Yeah. And like we would eat anytime. So like we would just get stuff, a plate fully. We don't like give out and like pass around stuff.
Mm,
Yeah, I think that's what's different.
yeah, so you get your full meal served to you. It's not something that you pass around other plates to each other. I got that. Okay, cool. Dar, anything come to mind for you? An experience having assimilated into American culture that stood out to you, something positive or interesting?
For me, something positive would be just knowing that I'll get education because in Malaysia, I didn't really go to school and I wasn't surrounded with like diversity, I would say, because I didn't go to school, obviously. I stay at home. So I only have friends that like were like me. So
Mm.
knowing that in America, there's like a lot of diversity. I think just the thought of going to school and meeting people that weren't like me,
Yeah.
meeting someone different from me, I think that was like something that I was looking forward to. Yeah,
Mm.
that was something positive.
That's absolutely very positive. I don't, and it's interesting you say it this way because, when I'm from Panama originally in Latin America, and although for Latin American countries, very diverse where we live, there's people from all different ethnicities because of the Panama Canal attracted so many different nationalities. It's actually not until here in the US that not only do you have different nationalities, but also people maintain a lot of their culture and ethnicity while here, right? Although we assimilate by learning the language and perhaps there's some customs, here in Dallas, especially, I've had an opportunity to do so many wonderful events and activities that honor different cultures. So that's been really cool. Um, and for me, one of the most challenging things immigrating to the US, besides the language, I think the language is a big one, was also the fact that sometimes I know I just didn't fit in. My dad was in the military, so we moved around quite a bit. And I tell people that I didn't know I was Black until I was 14 years old because the places where he lived up to that point, on the military bases, there were a lot of different people that looked a lot of different, people from different ethnicities, different skin tones. And then I went to a high school, where there was a distinction between people who are Black and people who are white, and they sat in separate places socially. It wasn't, obviously this was not in the 60s. I'm not that old, but there was no segregation. But I remember distinctly walking into my high school cafeteria and seeing that, oh my gosh, it feels like like I have to decide where to sit based on my skin color. And that was really hard. The first few years of high school were very difficult for me. Didn't know really how I fit in, and I traveled quite a bit, so I wasn't a local. So I'm curious for you, what was something that was for the two of you? What's a challenge that you remember experiencing, something that was difficult or confusing um, in this country?
Mm, I think learning the language
Mm-hmm.
because yeah, it was really hard because there was nobody older than me to teach me, like an older sibling. So like I had to just figure it out by myself. And doing the homeworks was really hard because at first I started off doing it alone, but then there was other programs to help me like do my schoolwork. But yeah, going home and doing like all the schoolworks in elementary school was really hard because I didn't know English.
And you're on your own to do it or figure it
Yeah.
out. Oh my gosh, that has got to be hard. Wow. Dara, what about for you?
Oh wait, can you repeat the question?
Yeah,
Sorry.
what's something that was hard or challenging or confusing in this culture or in this country?
I guess something hard or challenging is just really trying to fit in because coming here, everything was like new. And I think just, I guess just trying to fit in would be a challenge only because I didn't know the language. I didn't know how to act around people. Because I mean, obviously, I'm not accustomed
Yeah.
things here. So I guess that was a challenge.
Fitting in. I think that's an eternal that's an eternal quest, right? But the more we know ourselves and the more we are passionate about what we do, the easier it is to fit in because we hopefully are attracted to activities or people who are like us. And that's one thing that I admire about the two of you. Both of you are so creative. I have, not only seen your dancing, Boy Pop, but also Dara and your writing. And I'm curious, what are you guys doing with these talents and skills now? How are you expressing this part of yourself?
I guess for me, since I'm taking advanced English classes, I do have to write a lot of essay. So I guess that helps me when I have to write essays and stuff. And I know in college, to apply to college, I know you have to write a lot of essays. So using what I already know and what I can already do in writing, it has helped me more.
Oh,
Yeah.
I think we lost Bway. All right, keep going. So essay writing. Yeah.
And sometimes I just write for fun. So
What kind of things do you like to write?
sometimes I write just about anything. Sometimes it could just be about like how my day went or
Is
like
it for your personal use, or is this part of your essay writing?
sometimes it's for personal use, sometimes it's for school or for scholarship. An Eagle Scholar, they help us with scholarship even now. So
Mhm.
for scholarship and yeah, that's about it.
Oh, nice. So it sounds like you write for pleasure, but it's also a very practical use, right, with your classwork and for applications. With writing though, I don't think we talked about this, but I am in the process of writing a book, and it's, it has its challenges. But I don't enjoy writing as much as I enjoy speaking. So I'm having a big challenge in actually sitting down to write. So give me some tips. How do you stay focused on your writing?
For me, I try to go somewhere quiet because I do get distracted very easily.
Mm,
Or quiet or and go to a space where I'm like I feel safe and like comfortable. That
mhm,
really helps me focus on when I'm writing. Or sometimes I like listen to music, or sometimes I'll talk to like my friends just to
mhm.
get an idea. Like I'll tell them, oh, this is what I'm writing. Can you guys give me ideas? But, like if it's for school use, I'll ask them for help, and then whatever idea they give me, I'll like put them together and just jot down some writing. Or sometimes I'll like just write anything on a paper.
Mhm.
After that, like draft, like you,
Yeah, writing a first draft, or yeah.
and then like after that, like I'll just write down anything and fix it later on. Yeah.
So you handwrite first and then you write it on the computer?
Yeah, I like handwriting first because computer, I don't know, stress me out.
Really?
I handwrite first and then I'll put it in computer sometimes.
What do you notice is the difference when you write by hand versus computer?
For hand, I don't know. I just keep going,
Hmm.
stopping. But with computer, I don't know. I seem to like stop. Because when you write on computer, the red line that tells you your spelling is wrong and stuff, that ticks me off. So on paper, I don't know. I just keep going without stopping. So I think writing on paper really helps me better.
I've never thought about that. I think you gave me a good idea, by the way. But yeah, you're right, because if you're writing on like a Word document or something, it will tell you where to correct certain spelling or if the grammar's off. And that it is kind of like is a piece of criticism that interrupts the flow of writing. Okay, I might start doing that. It's just continuing to write and see what comes out. That might be less inhibiting for me, actually. So I like that idea. Okay, let's see where Bway is if something happened. Awesome. I'm glad that we could make it back after that little technical glitch. Bway. So Darwa has been sharing all about her writing process and what inspires her to write and how she goes about it. And I know for you, dance is really important. So first of all, I know you went to that school for dance. Did you stay there? Are you still in that school?
Yeah, I'm still in that school.
Really?
Yeah.
Cool.
So I'm really glad you took me there.
I made a difference.
Mhm.
Talk to us about dance. Like what kind of dancing do you do? What inspired you to start dancing? All of that.
Um, Back in 6th grade, I think was no, it was actually back in elementary school when I took summer class,
Uh-huh.
and we had this program. I don't know, but it was in Jackalow where they had like some people go to karate, and then some other people goes to dance class. And then I took the dance class, and then it was really fun. But then I was interested, but there was no dance class in elementary school. So then when I went to middle school, my dance teacher was like really nice, and she inspired me to continue dancing. So
Mm.
I decided to go to WTY, and then that's when you took me. And I was really glad because I was kind of like on and off about it because it was during the pandemic and I was really stressed out. But now that I think about it, I'm glad I stayed because it feels like home there. Yeah.
Oh, what kind of dance do you do?
We do ballet, jazz, hip hop, modern, anything actually, because we take college classes with it too. So professors comes and like teach us.
Man, wow, look at that.
Yeah.
You haven't invited me to a recital or anything. And Dar, you haven't shown me any of your like amazing writing. So what's up with that? Hello.
I keep forgetting.
Yeah, do
I'll
your
invite you this year since it's the last year.
yeah, I'd like to even see a video or something, or even just email me something you've written, Dar, whatever. I would love to see how you all have continued to blossom. Um, how well do you guys know each other? Do the two of you know each other well?
Yeah, we've known each other since elementary school.
Yeah. Yeah. You know that
Ooh,
she taught me how to ride a bike.
really?
Yeah.
How?
I still remember that.
Uh-oh, how was it?
It was good
Yeah?
because I was trying to learn how to ride a bike and nobody would teach me and I didn't know how to. So then she taught me and then I got a bike the next day.
Oh, look at that, making a difference in each other's lives. Dar, what do you remember about Bway from elementary school?
Gosh, Whip was just some spontaneous girl. She was so outgoing, very bubbly. So I knew I wanted to be friends with her.
Oh, that's sweet. Bway, what do you remember about Dar, besides her teaching how to ride a bike?
She's really nice. She's still nice and she's like really what is it called? She's really hardworking.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Both of you are extremely hardworking for sure. I know that I've seen it in action. And so, I'm really curious about what, at this point in your lives, you're both in high school now, you've gone through so much together and separately, you're both very creative and you've been trained now through these programs to learn what you want to do in the future, all these things. Like, what are some things that you still feel like you need to know? What are some things that make you a little maybe nervous or uncertain about the future?
For me, I would just say getting out in the world because I don't think I'm ready for that. Because I guess I know in like going out in the world, you have to do things by yourself.
Mm.
But right now, I'm used to people really helping me out when I need help. So I guess what I'm still scared is like just getting out in the world and doing things on my own and trying to find like if I need help, I gotta help myself and like do everything on my own. So just navigating through stuff alone is still kind of pretty scary.
Oh, can I give you some advice?
Yes.
Stop thinking that. So, yeah, so much of that is part of the culture in this country for sure, kind of a Western ideal, right? To be independent is important, which absolutely is. I've done a lot of things on my own, but it's taken me years to realize that there are always people there to support me. Most of the time, what was missing is me thinking that I had to do it myself. That's what got in the way of people actually supporting me and asking me, to help and offering me ideas, teaching me how to ride a bike or any of those things, because I wasn't asking for it. I thought I had to do it by myself. So that's why I say, if you put that thought away, just say, no, that's not true. That you do not need to do things on your own. And you can find the right people to support you. Maybe not everybody needs to know and has to help you with everything, but if you find the right people, right, that makes a huge difference. And one is faster. Like, why would you want to do things on your own? It's going to be slower, take more money, take more energy, right? Take more time, all those things. So that's my piece of advice. What do you think about that?
It's pretty good.
So I always say find like 5 people that you can count on for different things. Almost like having like I call it a circle of influencers. 4 or 5 people, that's all you need. One person who's can move in the same direction as you are, that's goal driven, similar goal perhaps, or has already been in that goal, someone that can support you in getting there. Some people like know people, they know resources to go to, they know what, where to get the answers for different questions. find someone that you can just, feel comfortable celebrating with or commiserating with. And then lastly, find people who also challenge you, make you think differently, show you a different perspective or a different path, but can do so in a respectful way, right? Can do so because they love and care about you, not because they're going to be critical, right? So I would say just four or five people. If you could just be really key about that, I think you'll find that you will always find people to help. So that's my little advice from Miss Valerie.
Thank you.
Yeah. Anything else about that, Dar, that makes you, that concerns you about people or going out there on your own or any of those things?
I guess the other thing would just be, I'm not used to really approaching people. I let people approach me. So I know that when I'm like out there, I really need to learn how to approach people. Yeah.
Was it you? Was it no? Maybe it wasn't you or somebody else in Eagle Scholars that I had a conversation with. That sometimes it's harder and is more impactful to be interesting than to be interested. Right. So maybe you don't have to. If you're really good at attracting the right people to you, right? And I'm not just talking about attracting in like a romantic type of way, but really attracting people because you're open, because you're curious, because people know that you will be interesting to speak to. You're a person that appreciates them and acknowledges them. People always will want to come and like, hey, do you need help with that? Right? Hey, I have this idea. And people want to give to people who know how to receive, in other words. So, and you're obviously, if you're a person that's also very helpful. You wouldn't have taught Bway to ride a bike.
Yeah.
Miss Bubbly over here. Bway, what about for you? What's on your mind about the future? What makes you concerned, nervous,
The
curious?
same thing as she said in the beginning, we're like going out in the world and being like all alone.
Yeah.
But like since you said it, yeah, I get it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And also knowing what I want to do, because at this right now, I don't know what I want to do yet. I can't tell if I want to continue dancing
Okay.
or like I don't know what interests me because yeah.
Because what?
I don't know.
You've seen
Like
so much.
there's like so much to do, but like I don't know what to do, you know?
Yeah.
And I'm scared that like what if I don't succeed in that goal, you know? If I don't get in that goal.
Wait, so you have a goal and you're afraid that you won't succeed, or you really don't know what you want? Which is it?
I think I have a goal, but then like there's just so many things I want to do. I just don't know what to choose.
What happens if you choose all of them?
Can you choose all of them?
I don't know. Can you? Zara, what do you think?
I think you can, because it's like an opportunity for you to just really explore. And I guess in that moment, I guess you'll like really go towards, like you'll in that process, you'll find something that really like attracts you. So I think you can really choose all of them. It's a chance for you to explore and see what you're really good at and stuff.
Well, what do you say about that?
Yeah.
So there you have it. Dar has given you permission. Do it all. Wait, Paul, what advice? You're bubbly, very expressive, just like Dar said, right? I know too. That's been my experience of you. And you're fearless, really. I mean, you do things that scare you all the time, at least from what I've seen of you. What advice do you give young people or even older people like me that may be a little shy or perhaps are not going out there and taking chances? What kind of advice or tips you can give us? Can you give us?
I don't know because even I am like scared to go out and approach people, but like I do it because I don't know. I don't know why I do it, but I do it. And I try to hide the fact that I'm scared to talk to them. But then at the same time, like I show them that, they can help me and I can help them, I don't know. Like we both have a positive effect on each other. But then like at the same time, I go and talk to people so that like I'm not there alone. Just like how like I don't want to sit alone in the cafeteria. So like I'm out there talking to people even though I'm scared. And then just be yourself, because if you're yourself and the people like around you likes you, then they're the right person for you. But if you're yourself and the other people don't like you, then they're just not meant to be in your life, you know?
100%.
Yeah.
What's a good tip? Like what is your starter, your opening line when you go up to meet someone new? What do you say?
I say hi.
Hi.
Yeah, like I I like I just be who I am. I'm shy, and I show them that I'm shy, but then at the same time, like I show them that I want to talk to them and get to know them.
Mm,
Yeah.
yeah. Shy and fearless, it sounds like.
Yeah.
Or courageous, maybe not fearless, but shy and courageous.
Yeah.
That's cool. Okay, so saying hi. Look at that. Simple. Um, if you could ask each other a question, maybe something you've heard about, we've talked about today, or maybe you can ask me a question about anything. What questions come to mind right now? Ask anything you want.
Can you continue supporting me in the future?
Me?
Like both of y'all, you know?
Oh,
Of
Dar.
Of course, I'll continue supporting you.
100%. But so tell us, how can we support you?
I don't know, like maybe in the future when I like need something or like somebody, you know? Yeah, because yeah, there's things that I'm not so good at and y'all are good at, so like I can go and ask y'all for help. Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. I think you said something really interesting there, because this idea of finding people that are good at other things that you're not always good at, or that you don't feel as comfortable doing, or maybe a little bit more difficult for you. That's a really key way of finding who are the right people to support you, right?
Mhm.
What is this person good at that I'm not? And I think sometimes we take for granted that we have to be an expert in everything. And it's like, no, actually, no, find people who are good. Like,
Yeah.
wouldn't that be cool? Like if Dar wanted to learn some new dances, or if I wanted to learn something, like, Bway could teach us some stuff. She could do a choreography. I don't have to figure this out on my own, right?
And Dar can help me write because I'm not so good at writing.
Dar's
Absolutely.
already helping. She's gonna help me. Dar, you didn't know that's why I was asking you questions about writing, but you're gonna help me start writing my book. Any other questions, Wei Pa?
Um, Not really. Nothing in mind right now.
Nothing in mind. Cool. Dar, what about you? What questions do you have for us?
I want to ask Miss Valerie, like, what was your favorite part of like high school? Or like, is there anything you wish you would have done differently in high school? Or
Yes. So high school, the first 2 years of high school were very hard. As I mentioned before, I did make a lot of friends on purpose, because I just didn't feel like I fit. And so I kind of kept my circle of friends very small. I was actually voted most studious in my class because people, all they saw was me in a classroom with a book. But what they didn't know is that I really wanted to connect with people, but I just didn't feel that I fit in. So those first 2 years, I kind of kept to myself. But then the good thing was the two or three friends that I had recommended I join the band, the marching band, because they wanted to try out too, and they wanted all of us to do it together. And I was just like, marching band, really? Oh. And it was with a color guard with all the flags and stuff. So I was like, okay, I think I can do that, sure. And so we all tried out, we all made it into the band, and that changed my life. Band changed my life primarily because I met a lot of everybody in band has a story about not fitting in. So the band of misfits. And then we had a wonderful band director. Actually, I invited him to be on the podcast before. So we had a chance to talk about that experience. And he was instrumental in so many ways in my life. So that was the best part of high school. The only thing I wish, I guess, I don't really regret anything. I think I did the best with what I had, with what I knew at the time. But I guess I wish I hadn't been so judgmental. I think part of what kept me separate from people those first 2 years was because I was so judgmental about it. Like, well, I've done this and I've traveled to other places, and here I am in this high school where most people grew up together, and somehow I thought that was, they couldn't connect with me. But I think had I been more open and curious about people, I could have gotten closer. Yeah. Next question.
My other question is, okay, as a rising senior, I know after senior year, I'm gonna transition into college life, and I am not that excited yet because in college, I will be away from my family and stuff. So I guess, what advice would you give?
Ooh, okay. Well, I'm going to twist it up first. What advice have you heard so far? What are some things that the two of you have heard about being, going to college and getting ready for college?
Most of the stuff I heard is just to make friends. Like, don't think too much about it. Like, just go for it and make a lot of friends. And I think there's a lot of people just say enjoy the college life. Like, don't be scared of this and that. Like, just go for it and stuff.
Mhm. Yeah, for you for sure, because I know how reserved you are sometimes. So yes, Bway, you be careful. You slow down. So Daria, like, you go. Boy, I'm like, pause. Take your time. So that's interesting, great question, because part of it depends on you, right? Depends on your goals, and your personality will tell you a lot. I think in general, with college experience, college gave me an opportunity to, just like Eagle Scholars, right, does for you, gave me an opportunity to learn a lot about myself. I focus on college more on the experience of learning, like learning how I learn best, because you are on your own. You select your classes, you select your study time, all of these decisions are yours. We're not in high school anymore where somebody's telling you, read this book, do this thing, come to class, right? There's a lot of rules in high school that you have to follow. In college, you don't have anybody making you follow rules. And so you get to learn a lot about your discipline. You get to learn a lot about your preferences. Like, for example, I learned that I study better and do better in classes in the morning. I was one of the rare people because I'm a morning person. And so going to an 8 o'clock class for me was much easier. I could not stand going to class at 4 in the afternoon or 5, like some people. I was just like, oh my gosh, I'm tired. I don't want to go. My mind wasn't as clear. I wasn't as focused. So those are the kind of things that I paid attention to. So learn as much about how you learn and what makes you come alive, what's important to you. And then pick a couple of social things that you know are helpful, not only helpful in making friends, but you know that you care about. For me, was working with international students and students that were coming from other countries. I went to the University of Alabama and I studied public relations and Spanish. And some of the most meaningful things that I did were because of the international community that I got to connect with. So find something you're passionate about and start doing that. You'll make friends, you'll do things that you can put on your resume, right? You'll get better at some skill. So those are my 2 pieces of advice, and that you can take it anywhere and do that. Doesn't matter what school or what you study. What do you think about that, Dar?
I think that's a pretty good advice to carry on.
Yeah, so if you like writing, find people who are writing. Is it a newspaper? Is it a yearbook writing course? Are they writing, short stories, stuff like that? And that might be a great way for you to connect socially and also do something you love, Cool. All right, now you have to ask each other questions.
My question for Boypa is, I guess, what has been like the most memorable about high school?
Probably making the friend group I had, because when I went to high school, like I knew nobody. Like no one, not even like a single person. So then when I went to school for being a freshman, like, like it was during the pandemic, and then I went like a few days and then didn't go, in a few days didn't go. But then during that day, like during the days I went, I had a friend who like I would always follow. Like I was literally her lost puppy, and she's a part of our friend group now. But yeah, it was like really memorable because I was following her. Like I was literally chasing her, and like Yeah, that's why we're close now.
Hey,
And
shout out to
also
your friend.
memorable because I got to make new friends, and I learned how to make new friends because growing up, I was always with the same people, from elementary to middle school. And then when I went to high school, that was so scary because I didn't know if I could like make new friends or not. I
Mhm.
thought I was gonna be having to like sit in the cafeteria alone. And that was what I was scared of.
Mm.
But yeah,
None of that happened.
none of
You found someone. Oh, that's awesome.
that.
You got the two of you have both brought up this idea of during the pandemic, right? And school and your experience of school. And I've heard some things, but I've not heard it from actual students that were living it. So I'm curious about what was it like going to school for what, 2 years, 2.5 years online, I guess? Or like, what was it like during the pandemic for you all?
Uh, I personally, I felt isolated from the world, and I felt like I was all alone, you
Mm,
know? So then talking to people and getting to know people was like harder. And I felt like, I don't know, I was more insecure talking to people.
mm,
Like, I don't know, I just felt alone. Yeah.
mm. What made you feel so alone?
Because, doing the computer and it was just like you and the computer. It didn't feel like people around you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm, yeah.
I don't know.
For me, I would say it's both positive and negative experience. I guess the positive thing was that during the pandemic, I guess I got to really focus on my work. And I think as a shy person, I think it was a great opportunity to get away from people. But yeah, but the negative thing is, I guess, being so used to just being on computer, I
Mm,
guess I wasn't like I guess I was relying too much on the internet to connect with people.
yeah.
So when we went back to school, it was like, oh my gosh, like I realized I needed to make friends. And I guess I was like losing my social skill during the pandemic.
Mm,
When I went back to school in person, it was really hard trying to connect with people because I was so used to just the internet helping me.
yeah.
But yeah, that's the experience I had.
Interesting. So what grades did you do online, the two of you? What
For
years were you?
me, my whole freshman year, I did Zoom, so it was all
Okay.
internet, and then I went back in person, sophomore year.
Okay. So,
Mhm.
and Boy
For
Pop.
me, it was half of eighth grade year. I don't know if it was half, but it was like the end of eighth grade year. And then I did the summer of high school, like summer, because I had to take some summer classes for high school. And
Mhm.
then when I did a few Zooms for high school because, you know, I didn't want to go to school. But then I had got my grades lower, so they wanted me to go to school. So I had to go like 1 or 2 days to school, and then I could stay home and then want to take 2 days of school. So basically 2 days a week of school.
Ah, it sounds like your grades suffered while you were on your own. Yeah. Yeah. Sometimes, especially being
It's good.
disconnected and lonely is hard.
Yeah, and I didn't really want to do it, so
Yeah. Mm. So you all are going to your senior year, final year of high school. One or two things that you're looking forward to this year. One or two things you're looking forward to this last year of high school?
mm, going out more, like interacting more with people so that they can remember me. Yeah, the
Yes,
freshmen,
make your mark.
the freshmen know me, and the freshmen like me.
Yes.
Yeah.
Not surprised.
For me, I like boy passer, I guess senior year, I'm most excited about just meeting new people and just getting to do the seniors activities.
Mhm.
And I think overall it's just getting to know more people because I know senior year, there's a lot of things that the seniors have to do together.
Yeah.
So I guess I'm really looking forward to just meeting new people and getting out of my comfort zone even more senior year.
Mm. Yes. Yes to both of you. Yeah, I think senior year is an opportunity to get to know some of the people that you were shy about getting to know, do some of those activities that are going to be helpful to you, right? There's sometimes people take a lot of unnecessary risks or you don't have to be careless to have a wonderful time in your senior year, right? But do things that are interesting, do things that really help make it memorable in a good way, a positive way, a way that you're proud of yourself, a way that you're proud of the people that you're with, right? So, oh gosh, I'm so excited for the two of you. I'm so grateful that I had an opportunity to be a part of a small fraction of your life coming up through high school and through to learning some different skills, and know that you have me and other mentors that you can always connect to, even if it's been years since you've seen each other, seen me. I welcome you guys to reach out. Yeah. Cool. Any final words before we end our time together?
I guess I would say this has been a great experience just being in a podcast. So I just want to thank you for inviting us.
Of course. This is your first one, you said, right? No, this is your second time. Yeah. So what's it been like? Tell us what's it been like being on this podcast today?
I guess since it's been a long time since I'm on a Zoom call,
Mm-hmm.
being on a Zoom call again feels great. And I guess just being able to talk again like this is really nice.
Okay, good. Yes, welcome back to Zoom. Ray Paul, what about for you? With final words, and what was this like?
I would like to say thank you for this experience, because me and my friend group wanted to make a podcast on our own, but then it never worked out. Like we didn't get to do it. But this is my first podcast. Yeah. And thank you for taking me to, I don't know if it was Diverse Lounge or something, but yeah, you helped me speak. You helped me write a speech and talk in front of people.
Mhm.
Even though it's still hard for me to talk in front of people,
Mhm.
I think I'm getting kind of better at it.
Yeah, I am so grateful that I could support you too in that way. And the thing that makes anything better is continue to practice, right? The only way you build confidence is by having the courage to practice. That's it. Right? The more courageous you are, the more confidence you build. So I'm so glad that you guys said yes. And Bway Paul, maybe this is going to be the inspiration that you and your friend group needed to do it. You both obviously have so much to say, so much to offer, and you're so eloquent and expressive and doing some wonderful things. So I'm so proud of the two of you. I'm glad that I'm considered and hopefully considered your friend, right? You all are definitely my friends, my young friends. And I'm sure that those that have been listening to this conversation, there are probably a couple of nuggets that they took away that they wouldn't have thought of until you two said it. And so thank you for that.
Thank you.
Absolutely. So for those of you tuning in to this episode of the podcast, Not Quite Strangers, thank you so much for tuning in. If you haven't already, please subscribe and like us, rate us on your favorite podcast platform. Hopefully this will be an opportunity for you to keep meeting new people. If nothing else, have these conversations with the people around you. There are other high school students or other rising seniors who might need your advice, might want your wisdom, or perhaps an opportunity for you to hear what they're up to, where you can support them. So Bway and Dar gave us some wonderful topics to discuss and some wonderful questions to answer. So I encourage all of you to go out there and find a young person that you can connect with, talk to, and provide not only advice, but also receive some tips from them. You guys have learned some stuff. I'm actually quite impressed with the two of you too. Cool, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us. Have a wonderful rest of the day. Bway and Dar, don't go anywhere. And I'll say goodbye to everybody else for now. Bye, everybody.
You've been listening to the podcast Not Quite Strangers. Be sure to subscribe or follow on your favorite video or podcast platform. And for more information and content, go to notquitestrangers.com. See you next time.